Hey there viewers, and welcome back. Today I want to take a look at how to remove the carburetor from this GX 630 engine. Let's make it happen. Step 1. You're going to remove the air cleaner. It might be stuck down to this little rubber gasket. Let's just set that aside. Sometimes this gasket sticks to the air cleaner and comes out. You can just press it back in and it should stay. The next step we're going to do is we're going to remove these fasteners. I'll just put that there so you can see what it is. 2 of those and probably 3, 1 nut. And those guys looks like all the same. Obviously the nut is slightly different. No big deal. And then the whole top of the airbox, Honda's really nice and thoughtful. They put a rubber O-ring on it down here so you can reuse it. Okay, so the next thing that we need to be aware of is how this control bracket is set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some good pictures of how that throttle linkage assembly is set up. Just sneak in there real quick. And then I'm going to remove the 2 bolts that are holding the control bracket on. At that point, you can get some access to things. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to use our thumb and we'll push the black plastic tab out for the choke and we'll just let that linkage fall. And then we have also noted very carefully with our pictures on where the 2 governor speed control springs go so that those will not get lost. And then we can simply remove them very carefully. And we can put the 2 bolts back with the control bracket. Next up, we're simply going to take our little digits and get up underneath this kind of gray. Ooh, that's on her tight. She's new. I'm going to remove this tension spring first. Then we should be able to get up under that. Wow, that's tight. That's what my wallet said. And be able to pop that out and very carefully remove that from the governor arm. So we will remove this little linkage tension spring. No, it's not bent. That's actually how it looks. And there's a little hole up in there where this little guy right there hooked to. So at this point, we should be able to zip the 4 bolts. I might leave them in a little bit. We'll remove the breather tube. So I'll just get your fingers behind that. Maybe use a screwdriver a little bit. New, they usually come apart pretty easy. Old and crusty, not usually so much. So there we go, just make sure we don't tear that. I can see the carburetor is loose. It actually looks an awful lot, like extremely similar to the GX 530 that we also have. So your other option is to remove the intake manifold as well, which we're going to get to in a separate section. Okay, we'll take these guys out. They are all the same size. Looks like there are 2 gaskets and an insulator chilling behind the carburetor. I'm just going to put my hand underneath that. So, fuel line. Looks like we forgot to take that loose. And it looks like there's a vent tube underneath the carburetor, which we'll remove before we take the carburetor off. So I just pulled this up. Got pictures on how it goes. Take this guy loose. Back into the manifold he goes. And our carburetor is free. Alright. now, should be able to take the fuel line and all that stuff off. Choke rod is still in the carburetor. That is where the choke rod goes. And then over here, you can see where the little spring was hooked into. Maybe it was hooked onto there. I'd have to go check the pictures. Probably it was hooked onto there. There's like a 99% chance of that. Here's your idle speed adjustment screw. And I don't see any fuel mixtures at all on this engine. You should be able to just lift the carburetor off the motor. Next we'll pull this insulator out. You can see there's another gasket. This is the direction that it went. The tab pointing toward the oil filter. You can see the little notch out as well. Hopefully this little gasket comes out without being destroyed. We'll make new ones of those in AutoCAD, of course. Cut those with the laser, should be no big deal. This one looks relatively unscathed. Okay, so now I want to remove this heat shield from this valley. Kind of a novel idea, keeps the carburetor and stuff from getting quite so hot. We'll just go ahead and squeeze, remove this little clip in here. Simple little pair of pliers. Oh man, she is stuck on there, baby. Maybe we can leave that in. Maybe until we remove the intake manifold, it looks, nope, it comes out. Okay, don't break it. So we'll just put these back in. Next, I want to remove the intake manifold. Okay, so that sits up like that. Hopefully you can see it. Well, there you got it, folks. That is how you remove the carburetor, the control bracket, and the linkages, the little valley pan. It does appear that this is actually a pushrod engine, so it promises to be fairly interesting. I figured they'd go overhead cam with this, but when you see these tubes, definitely a pushrod motor. So cool, promises to be interesting inside, like I had said earlier. I also notice the cylinder jugs are labeled individually, where on the 530 they are not. So some subtle differences, but nothing too bad so far. Thanks for watching.